What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the 12 Games of Christmas presented by the Unlockables. My name is Eric. I am your host. I'd like to thank you wherever, whenever in time and space you might be listening for tuning in to our year-end celebration where we're playing my favorite 12 games this year and talking about them, and also celebrating 1 year of the Unlockables. That is right. We are nearing the end of our 12 Games of Christmas journey. It has been quite a ride. If you're not sick of my voice by now, we have a few more episodes to go, and then you'll be free of me for a couple of months. But we aren't done yet. We're talking about another fantastic game that I played this year. Well, yeah, game I played this year. Not a full game release, but we'll get into that in just a moment. I have to introduce my guest first, and of course, having another guest on that was integral to the success of Unlockables this year. On the first day of Christmas, his true love gave to him. I don't even remember the lyrics of the song now. It is my friend Tyler from Switch It Up Podcast. Tyler, how you doing tonight, sir?
After hearing that, I'm doing fantastic, Eric. That was a treat to listen to that transpire there. It's good to be back. It's good to be back on the Unlockables airwaves. It's been too long.
It was a partridge in a pear tree, but I've been doing these Christmas Carol intros for so long that my brain is just kind of melted at this point.
It's okay. We have fun here. We roll with the punches. We're good.
So if you don't remember, Tyler was on earlier in the year. We did a pretty lengthy, in-depth episode on Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak. And Tyler, I'd like to just to say before we get started here, appreciate you coming on for that one, sir. And appreciate both you and Colby and Switch It Up. Been integral to the success of Unlockables this year. And it's been awesome getting to know you guys and collaborate and just kind of hang out in the little podcasting community. So thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it.
Oh, you flatter us, Eric. Come on. It's all good. We have the same feelings about you. It's all mutual beneficial. Everyone's having a good time. But I appreciate the kind words. Glad I could talk some hunt with you. And once again today, I see.
Ooh, spoiling it there, and thank you. That's an excellent transition, sir. And if you haven't guessed it by now, because Tyler and I can't talk about literally anything else, the game we are talking about tonight is, of course, Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak. Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak, better known by its Christian name. I spent way too many hours playing this game this year. It's developed and published by our good friends over at Capcom, released worldwide on June 30th, 2022. It was the expansion for 2021's Monster Hunter Rise. Ratings for Rise, I couldn't find any separate ratings for Sunbreak for whatever reason. Then again, I didn't look too far beyond the confines of Wikipedia, so that might be my problem. Ratings for Rise, as they were, Metacritic 88, Game Informer 7.75 out of 10, GameSpot 9 out of 10, IGN 8 out of 10. Just some numbers here. As of August 2022, Rise had sold 11 million units, while Sunbreak expansion had sold 4 million units. By October 2021, the previous game, Monster Hunter World, had surpassed 20 million units, and Iceborne had surpassed 8.5 million units. So recent history of success for this franchise here. One of the things I've done for 12 Games of Christmas, I've implemented the Christmas meter, which is where I judge how Christmas I feel a game is. I gave this one 7 out of 10 candy canes. There's nothing more festive than hunting some monsters with your friends, and there's also snow levels and feasting. Also, the weapon grind is kind of like opening presents on Christmas Day, where you finally save up enough materials to get your new weapons. So If Die Hard's a Christmas movie, Monster Hunter can be a Christmas game. So there you go. Go play it and feel festive. I don't know how well that will go over, but yeah, recent history of success for Monster Hunter kind of breaking into the mainstream here. Tyler, let me ask you, what was your... This has to be noted now, unlike the rest of the games on 12 Games of Christmas so far, this isn't actually a new video game per se. It is an expansion on a game that came out last year. And I think that should say something for why I'm putting a game expansion on my list of 12 best games that I played this year. So that being said, Tyler, what was your brief experience playing this game in 2022? And why should we be talking about this game at the end of the year?
I mean, it's not... At this point, looking at the modern Monster Hunters, world and Rise, their expansions may as well just be whole sequels to their original games. Like, they really do effectively double the content in the game. Like, Iceborne was massive, and Sunbreak equally so. But, like, you would have to... Once you play Sunbreak, you realize, what we're saying. Like, it really does feel like a whole new game when it comes out. New story, so many new monsters. But yeah, Sunbreak. Sunbreak was the vessel by which Rise became my most played game ever in my life.
Absolutely.
Over 400 hours.
Hell yeah.
I know that's nothing compared to my co-host and Fire Emblem Three Houses playtime, but for me, I think it's kind of an achievement. But yeah, no, Sunbreak was... It feels so long ago now that it first came out, but it was just a breath of fresh air to Rise. I'd been wanting to get back into Rise. Hearing the announcement of the expansion, we all knew it was coming, but we were there through all of the press releases and the trailers and such leading up to it, seeing the sort of European monster, like fairy tale theme that the monsters seem to have, with Malzeno being the vampire and Lunagron being the werewolf, and Garen Golem being the Frankenstein, and having that whole theme to it, being on a whole new castle-like map, going to a whole new part of Rise's world. That was already sort of like hinted at with some of the dialogue in Base Rise. It was just a fantastic experience. Plus, I did not get to play Sunbreak before because I was in college without a console when Sunbreak or when Iceborne came out, rather.
Oh yes.
Sorry, Iceborne. I probably said Sunbreak there, but for Sunbreak, I was here for the whole thing. So it was just fantastic. I had a lot of close friends, including, of course, Eric here, that I got to play the game with over the course of its release, and it was just a great time. It's kind of... If you listen to the Monster Hunter collab that we did, it's hard to describe is probably a phrase that I said a little too often in that episode, because it's true. Like it was just more Monster Hunter,
right?
Which is never really a bad thing. And I had fun, grinding out all the new systems, and the new monsters were fantastic. The game's difficulty was, increased significantly, but we just had to, us as hunters just had to, adapt to that difficulty, and we became better and more skilled for it. I picked up a whole host of new weapons in this new expansion to expand my repertoire. I tried to build a set for every single weapon in the game, which I did succeed in, except for the bow guns because they don't count.
Right.
And
we love you, bowgun mains. Please don't.
Yeah,
leave.
no. Please continue. Your damage is crazy. I just don't want to do it. I'll leave that to my longsword. But yeah, I know you said brief, so I'll end it here. It was just a fantastic experience, and it's still going. Updates are still coming out as we speak. The next update at the time of this recording is tomorrow. They're adding new monsters. They've added the Risen monsters, which are monsters that have survived I think in lore this is the reason, they've survived the Curio infection somehow and have formed a symbiotic relationship with the Curio, similar to Malzeno, the flagship monster of the game. So, of course, they're even more dangerous, so everyone has to go kill them before they start causing trouble and all that good stuff. But they're adding, subspecies as well, like Chaotic Gormagala is coming in this new update.
My boy.
It's going to be sick. And they've added what, Flaming Espinas, Violet Mizutsune, a lot of fire monsters for some reason. Yeah, the content, every time a content drop, that's several new weapons, that's several new sets and gems and skills, because every single new monster seems to have like a new skill these days that can shake up the meta. Like we also had like the metallic rads come in. Like
Yeah.
if you want an excuse to talk about this game in the current year, it's still getting content. That's a better reason than many games. So, Capcom has just always supported Monster Hunters so passionately and consistently. So even though we might take a break for a while, we'll always be drawn back eventually to the hunt. So
Exactly. That's one of, and jury's still out on me. I don't know if I've necessarily gotten better with these recent expansions, but more aggressive and make more stupid plays, hands down, I have got that department on lock. But one thing you did say is like, yes, we are on the eve of a brand new title update. I think this is the third title update since Sunbreak came out, which was June, and each title update adds a significant amount of hours of stuff to do to the game. And when you think about it, one of the things that we constantly do in this day and age is we have this conversation around value in video games, right? What is your money buying you? Like, what value is it buying? I would argue that a Monster Hunter expansion, specifically Sunbreak, and even going back to Iceborne, has some very incredible value, because you're buying what was this one, $40 expansion? I think it was it $39.99? You're buying a $40 expansion, and then they have a roadmap to support it through like summer 2023 already. So you're going to be getting brand new content, and each new content drop is significantly deep. If they follow the pattern of Iceborne, they supported Iceborne for like a year and a half before they stopped dropping stuff, which they added Fatalis as the final challenge. So yeah, if you're looking for something that you can get a lot of replay value out of and a lot of value out of expansions that you purchased, Capcom does right by the Monster Hunter community, 100%. Like you said, this isn't my most played game. That distinction still goes to World. I have over 400 hours played in World. That game consumed my life for the 3 years that I played it pretty religiously. But this is the most played game on my Switch now. It has surpassed all hours. I think I'm sitting right at about 200 hours. I will say this, for everything that I loved about this game, right around end of August or September, I kind of burned out on this game pretty hard.
Yeah.
And I hit a big wall right around, I had gotten a bunch of the weapons, was doing a bunch of the hunts and stuff like that. After that first title update, I hit a really big wall when they started introducing like the anomaly quests and stuff like that, where it's like, oh, now you have a different type of material collect to augment your weapons and your gear even further. And I was just like, man, I have put like 60 to 80 hours into this game over the last course of like a month and a half. It's just like I had to step away and like work on other things and work on stuff for the podcast and work on other games that I wanted to play and start planning this Christmas shenanigans. So I did burn out on it pretty hard just because I felt so overwhelmed at the level of like stuff that I had to do and things I had to collect now. Now there's all different types of materials I have to collect. So I will say that, but still, I played this, an expansion, more than any other game I've played this year, including some long ones. Kingdom Hearts, Xenoblade 3, which I'm about to finish, is not going to touch the playtime that I've put in to Sunbreak, an expansion to an existing game. Yeah. So take that, everybody that put out a game this year. Capcom put out an expansion to a game that is better than 90% of the stuff that came out this year. I didn't play Elden Ring, so I wouldn't know. I'm one of the blasphemers and probably the only person on earth didn't play Elden Ring. But
yeah, probably right.
Yeah, so it has a way, and like you say, it's difficult to explain to a person why it grabs you so. Like, you really have to play an experience for yourself. Like, when I was introduced to World and somebody was like explaining to me, it's like, oh, you just hunt monsters and you like make weapons and it's a cycle. I'm like, well, that sounds like I'd get bored with it pretty easy until you like experience it and you do like a couple hunts and then it just grabs you. There's something about it. If you're into that type of game, it grabs you. So I think it's a great spot for any new hunters to like jump in. This is the most successful one, I think. Rise kind of stripped back a lot of I won't say strip back, maybe just made quality of life improvements to the game overall. One, because it had to, because the Switch is less powerful hardware than a PC. And two, they distilled it down to like the best parts of Rise or World, which was just like, hey, nobody wants to be like picking up tracks or stopping to pick up materials or like slowing down the process of like getting into the hunt. They just want to get in the hunt, and they expedited that process to get to hunting the monster much faster. And for that, I'm much appreciated. Was there anything else you wanted to add, Tyler, to kind of this? This might be a little bit of a shorter one because we did have a whole hour, 45-minute episode on this.
I was about to say, I don't want to. I'm trying carefully not to reach. I am, as you guys know, I want to ramble, but I'm very much holding myself back, trying to not retread what we've already talked about. Because you can just go watch that episode. It's a great episode. You can go watch it again. But on the Anomaly Quest thing, I also feel that burnout very, very true to my heart as well. Let's be clear. We love this game a lot. We could definitely give some valid criticisms to Sunbreak, Anomaly Quest being one of them.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. Like, you really need to devote so much of your time to get those things grinded out to, like, their max levels, and you get, like, comparatively so little rewards for them. So you have to do so many of them to get, like, the augmentations of the weapons and the armor. You not only need to get the augmentations themselves, you need to unlock the slots on the weapons to get them. Like, it's just so many more layers of progression, which is more of an artificial time sink than an actual, like, content-wise time sink, as well as the armor augmentation being like essentially a loot box system. It's like just completely random what skills you get, which again, not great. We can criticize that, but you know, that all comes like the very end of the game, like pretty much when you're already done with everything. And even taking on these new title updates, I don't have max level gear or anything. Like I don't have like optimized armor or anything, and I'm still doing just fine against, you know, my Violet Mizutsunes and my Flaming Espinas and my Risen Chameleos. Risen Chameleos is actually, holy shit, that guy is hard. And now they're making Risen variants of my least favorite monsters in the game. So I'm not looking forward to Kushala and Teostra, their Risen variants in the next one. But, you know, those are like the only minor complaints about the expansion, really. Everything else I absolutely loved. And
let me be clear, like that is some. We have a saying in our podcast community, some like that is like some real sicko shit level of like grinding. Like it really is.
It is.
You can optimize this shit to such a high degree that it is approaching like this sicko level of obsession with the game. Let me be clear, not to like scare anybody off from like wanting to approach the series. You hit the nail on the head. You don't have to have the most highly optimized gear to be able to survive and play the game. Most of the time, like if you're just keeping up with the release of the monsters and making the weapons and gear as they come out, you'll be fine. Yes, you should probably learn how to like make some specific sets or like at least put together a set of gear that helps you in the hunt, whether it's like elemental damage or elemental resistances, defense, health, like things like that. You should you should learn how to do that. That's like base level Monster Hunter stuff.
You'll learn that way before you get to augmenting or anything. So you'll have the knowledge of making decent sets and all that stuff. And trust me, you'll get stuck in to these sets, man. You'll look at these skills and like, oh shit, this skill kind of stacks with this skill because like they both have this sort of property, which I can easily get on this weapon that I main. And then you start putting out, okay, how much attack boost, how much defense boost can I get in there? Do I want to sacrifice some of that for a little bit more power, some elemental damage? You know, you build all these sets you might build one set for every single monster. One set that's built for every single monster. Or you might have a one-all, be-all, like a jack-of-all-trades build.
Right.
And even if you don't have, like, the highest defense, right, just don't get hit. You know, like and that's like not even like a snarky.
You don't need defense if you can't get hit.
That's not even a snarky remark because
it's
as long as you have like, even if a monster takes out half of your health in a single hit, as long as you're able to get away and heal up, you can get back in the fight.
Right.
And I've gotten into that. Like a lot of these monsters with my current set, I get like 2-shot.
Right.
But. And I've gone into the longsword cult. To my pride's dismay, I have been sucked into the longsword cult. But
welcome to the cult, brother.
Like I run the the one armor that lowers your defense but increases power.
Oh yeah.
Which I think is a spoiler monster, so I don't want to get in just in case that's a little bit of an
That's
iffy
that real
area.
sicko stuff right there.
But, the longsword is, I just have learned the monster's sort of movements over the course of the games that even a new monster that I've never fought before, I can sort of get what it's going to do based on animation cues and things like that. And that's just like we said in the hour and a half episode, that's just the flow state that this game puts you in. Like, it's actually like you're entering nirvana. It really is unlike any other game's flow state that you'll ever really feel. I don't know how, like, they have meticulously crafted this system to be so addicting and almost zen-like when you get into the rhythm of a fight that you don't really got to worry about getting hit in some cases.
Right.
And then, like, as long as you have healing items, get right back in the fight. You don't even care if you get hit. Pull back, heal up, go back into the rhythm. It's so good. I cannot wait for the next title update to get back into it. I'm so excited.
There's a certain level of satisfaction, and it's one of those things that you don't even like catch yourself doing it, but like you become just better by playing the game. And it's not like eventually like a monster that used to give you like a really hard time, becomes easier, and you really do get into this flow like state. It's almost like this like Dragon Ball Ultra Instinct where like you're like rolling around, not getting hit, dishing out hits, like rolling away, and you'll go into like a 3 or 4 minute span where you're just be like, yes, I'm killing it, like this is awesome, I'm rolling around, I'm dodging all the attacks, I'm hitting all the big combos, and then it'll tip and you'll just get your ass handed to you for like 3 minutes, and like that's the ebb and flow of the game. And like I said, we don't want to discourage anybody from like coming to this. You are going to be hit with a challenge. Like, it is a challenging game. There are systems to learn, but it is a very rewarding experience for, I guess, people that like a certain type of game. And again, you don't have to. I would recommend like staying away from YouTube until like watch anything about this game, because all you're gonna find is like people that have like 10,000 hours in the game have these like stupid, ridiculous builds. They're like, yeah, this is like the most highly optimized build that you need to like put 10,000 hours into the game to build, and it's like the best statistic, like with all the stats and all this stuff. Like, don't listen to those people. Like, that's a very small fraction of the popular segment of the community. Most of the people are just like regular guys like me and you. It's like, I'm never gonna have the time to devote to put 10,000 hours in to get the highly most augmented weapons and armor. I'm not going to. And you don't have to. Do I feel bad about it? Yes, because I want all the stuff and I have FOMO and I want that stuff. But it's not necessary as long as you keep up with like the gear and the monster progression. It's pretty approachable. I would recommend, if you're like interested in it, and this is the way I got into into Monster Hunter as a series. I was interested in it. I bought the game, and then talking to a friend, I learned what it was. I did some research. I watched some, there's a gentleman on YouTube by the name of RX. He has some very great weapon workshop tutorials that break down all the weapons and what they do. That helped me pick out the weapons that I played with and led me to use bow and use longsword. And that's what I still use to this day. So I think whenever I tell people, they're like, oh, how'd you get into the game? It's like, well, I watch like 4 hours of weapon YouTube videos. And they're like, oh, you have to watch YouTube videos? I'm like, no, you don't have to. That's just the way I did, and it was a more rewarding experience because of it, rather than like flailing around for like 5 hours just getting my ass handed to me.
Weapon tutorial videos are definitely the savior of this game. That just gets you a good jump start in for sure, and what weapons you want to main. I would say he's right. Stay away from YouTube generally, especially like super crazy build videos, but I would say dip your toe into Twitch, into the Monster Hunter Rise section of Twitch.
Absolutely.
Because there are tons of just normal-ass people who have open lobbies and they just do chill hunts together, grinding out materials, helping people with quests. It is a very chill experience, a different experience from like looking at all those YouTube thumbnails and builds and stuff, to just hopping on Twitch and seeing some guys shooting the shit with people while they're decapitating an Astalos. So that'd be my recommendation.
As the boys tend to do.
And also, if you're worried, like, oh, I don't want to get into, Sunbreak or Rise because it's been out for too long and I'm going to be behind. Capcom hears you and they give you, after so many, after so much time has passed after like a game is released, World or Rise are out for a few months. they will add this thing called the Defender gear, which is basically super OP gear for the like beginning of the game,
Right.
to basically help newer players just get to the new stuff. But it's still, you still have to go through all the hunts and stuff. So
Right.
you still get a feel of the game, even if it's your first Monster Hunter. But it gives you an easier time to get up to the level of everybody else that's in the most recent content. So
Right.
yeah, there really is nothing to fear in getting into Monster Hunter. And as I wish I saved who I saw this tweet from because it's a great tweet, but the tweet said, and I quote, "Everyone is a Monster Hunter fan. A lot of people just don't know it yet."
Exactly.
So, no better time than right now. You're just putting off the inevitable if you don't get into Monster Hunter. That's all I'm saying.
Especially going back to the YouTube thing, don't watch speedrun videos. Those motherfuckers are playing this game on a completely different chessboard than the rest of us. They're absolutely insane. Some of these people who do like these, I'll beat this monster in like 45 seconds. Don't absolutely just do not watch that, please. And yes, everybody deep down is a Monster Hunter fan. You just don't know it yet. Tyler, let me ask you this. We can wrap this up here with just a little bit of speculation because
Sure.
The hype train is unstoppable. It continues forward despite the fact that everybody wishes for it to calm down and just give us a minute to breathe. Monster Hunter Rise, Monster Hunter Sunbreak, this will probably be the only kind of expansion for Monster Hunter Rise. So what do you think after we get the finished title updates for Sunbreak? What's the next step for Capcom here? What do you think is the next move?
I feel like the consensus among the community is make a World 2. Like make a sequel to World, essentially.
Right.
Put it on, Xbox, place all the most powerful hardware and shit. All that good stuff. But, take more, like the next game would take more from World than it would from Rise.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be weird going back to a game without wire bugs and all this crazy movement. And the pace that Rise has, because it's balls to the fucking ceiling, like, fast.
Yeah.
But people think that World 2, or at least some sort of successor to World, is the way to go. Make the game beautiful, bring back, like, the monsters interacting with the environment more, all that sort of stuff. Maybe don't bring back the tracks, even though I didn't really mind the tracks too much. Until they made you search for the pink Rathian stuff, and you had to go in and out of expeditions. That part sucked. Don't bring that back. But, after I don't really know what they're going to do for the final title update of Rise. I don't know if it's going to be as big as Sunbreak or as fucking Fatalis, the strongest monster that ever lived.
Yes.
But I assume they'll add some final boss monsters back to the final title updates of Rise. But yeah, World 2 is what I've been seeing a lot. I really don't know World's just such a good game. I don't know where they would go from it. Like how they would innovate on that formula and make it more. That's why I'm not a game developer, obviously. But I would share the sentiment. World 2, going back to that sort of vibe, maybe even making it a direct sequel, even though I don't think that's ever happened in Monster Hunter, really.
Right.
But going back to more of those mechanics, make the world a bit more natural, like make it feel more like a living, breathing world, like in World, and less like a sort of like just a playground specifically made for battle, like for hunting, like Rise. Obviously you can have a combination of both. It doesn't have to be one or the other. World did that, but that's the general consensus I've seen online, and I would say that's the direction I think we need to go to. Get back on the most powerful hardware that's on the market, and just again make a fucking banger Monster Hunter game, which is obviously not hard for them.
Absolutely. If you hit the nail on the head, 100%. I went back and played World a couple months after playing Sunbreak, and for a couple hunts there, it was pretty jarring. He's not kidding when he says that Monster Hunter Rise is fast. Like it is insanely fast. If World is like a dude walking around just outside, Monster Hunter Rise is like Sonic the fucking Hedgehog on cocaine. Like it is, you're zipping around, you're flying around, you're in the air. Like it's so, the pace of Rise is so incredibly fast, which is an impressive thing to be able to do, to pull off, like to scale something up to that speed and still make it feel like Monster Hunter is impressive. But yes, I share the sentiment, same as you. I feel like, as I said in the beginning notes, World sold 20 million units, which is about roughly the same that everyone's favorite game on PlayStation, Horizon Zero Dawn, sold, and everybody praises that game to the moon and back. So Rise sold, as of August, 11 million units, which Legends Arceus, the Pokemon game, sold 12 million units. So Monster Hunter is selling as many units as Pokemon, as these lauded PlayStation first-party games.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're not going to sell 20 million units of a game and not make a sequel to it. I just feel like that's an impossibility. So yes, I do think that World 2 is the natural progression. I think it'll be... World and Rise are very different. World is... Well, obviously these games are a fantasy. Nobody's going into the woods and fighting giant dinosaurs with fucking swords. Like, that's not possible. But World feels more realistic and grounded in reality. Rise is a fucking video game. Rise has the most video gamey ass shit in it that I've experienced in a video game this year, and it's incredible, and I love it. So yeah, I would agree with you too that I feel like World 2 is the natural progression, and sure enough, when that comes out, I'll pour in at least 200 hours into that for sure.
I'll be right with you, man. We'll be doing it together.
It'll be weird. It'll be weird to not have wire. That's going to be very jarring to go away from the wire bugs.
Yeah. Again, bringing in what we talked about in the an hour and a half episode, the two things that I think could, again, push this forward is either one, advancing the sort of the technological aspect of Monster Hunter a bit, because Monster Hunter's always been like cave punk, sort of aesthetic.
Yeah.
You have your interesting, you got your your almost steampunk like contraptions, like dragonators and lifts and shit. But I think maybe advancing the Monster Hunter world a bit further into the future and sort of like technological stuff, like maybe more like clockwork constructs, and even further into the steampunk era a little bit. Cool. I think that would allow, one, for cool movement options, because you have like steampunk like grappling hooks on every hunter and have them do crazy shit, and have like interesting new gadgets to use. And two, adding a new weapon to the core. How many are there? 13, 14?
14. They added the insect glaive in World, I believe.
Nope, they added the insect glaive before World.
Oh, it was? Okay.
Yep, they added the insect glaive in Try. I don't remember. I've only played World. In my research, I've
Interesting.
I've kept a few bits and pieces in my head, but I haven't looked.
Don't mind the fake ass Monster Hunter fan over here.
Yeah, sorry. But yeah, it's because there have been other spin-off Monster Hunter games. Like Monster Hunter Frontiers had it was this like magnet weapon that would like attract you to the like he would pull you towards the monster and do some crazy aerial maneuvers, and it was like it was shaped like a bow, but it was a blade. It was really interesting. Some people want that to return, even though it was super unbalanced and the best weapon in the game in that one. But yeah, I think adding a new weapon at this point would be really, really sick. And I know Capcom is creative enough to add a new crazy one. So yeah, I think a new weapon and maybe advancing the technological age of the setting a bit further could add for some really unique gameplay elements that could take the movement of Rise. It probably wouldn't be as freedom of movement as Rise, but still having that sort of helping to increase the pace of World. So World 2 would theoretically be a little faster than World 1, but a little slower than Rise. So it would be in a little bit of a middle ground.
Because anybody coming from Rise, if you didn't play World, if you jumped in Rise, anyone going from Rise to a hypothetical World 2 is going to get some pretty bad whiplash.
Yeah, seriously. But yeah, I think that is what I would put. I'm not sure if I'd put money on it, but that's what I would want for Monster Hunter going forward from Sunbreak.
Speaking of Monster Hunter going forward, and this is the last thing I'll ask you.
Sure.
Because as you can probably guess, we could talk about this. We just talk about random Monster Hunter bullshit for like 2 hours, like very easily. There has been a trailer for EA's take on a Monster Hunter game. Have you seen this? Called Wild Hearts.
Yes, Wild Hearts. Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I mean, hey, Monster Hunter is great. So having other people try their hand at it, I'm totally down for it. There was another game that people constantly compared to Monster Hunter. I forget what it was now, but
Is it Dauntless by chance?
Dauntless, that's correct. Yes, that one was more like magical, mystical sort of Monster Hunter. You had all sorts of cool powers you could use, and this Wild Hearts game looks like you can like throw out structures on the fly, and you can make like
basically
constructs.
putting Fortnite in.
Yeah, you can make like turrets and like platforms you can run up to get different angles on your monsters and attacks. It looks really good. I don't know if I'll get it,
Right.
Just for budgetary reasons. But I would definitely watch gameplay of it and see, because I know some Monster Hunter content creators on YouTube are already looking at it and they're like, we'll cover it and we'll compare the two and we'll talk about it.
Right.
But yeah, like hunting big monster with friends should be a video game genre at this point. So if
hunting monster with giant weapon is one of my favorite. Is probably my favorite video game genre at this point. So
there's probably very few other games that would be better to take inspiration from for your game than Monster Hunter.
Yes.
So hey, if EA wants to take their shot at it, I'm all for it.
I have a very love-hate relationship with EA, having been the author of many fine childhood memories, but also the author of many of my biggest disappointments playing video games and looking at you, Anthem.
Yeah.
This scares me. Anytime that EA is involved in something, it scares the shit out of me. Game looks really fucking cool. I definitely would like to check it out, but I'm afraid I haven't purchased an EA game since Anthem, even though like Jedi Fallen Order has been really good. So they have some stuff that's come out that's been pretty good. I haven't given them any money since they screwed me over on Anthem. So,
of course.
And honestly, I just kind of screwed myself over, but that's besides the point. The thing, and I'm glad you brought up Dauntless because that was going to be the other one. Like there have been people that have tried to like do this kind of concept before. I played some Dauntless. I put some pretty heavy hours into that game when it first came out because it was free to play and it was like a Monster Hunter light. It wasn't as aggressive. It's still nothing I've played in the vein of Monster Hunter has captured that feeling quite like Monster Hunter has. And I think that's just some kind of magic ingredients, magic recipe that Capcom has that just makes that game feel really good and really satisfying. So yeah, we'll see when that gets closer. Maybe I'll check it out. I think I'm going to wait for reviews to kind of gauge the community interest first before I jump into that.
Of course.
And I guess we'll see from there. But kept this going longer than we probably should have. But if you couldn't tell from mine and Tyler's enthusiasm, we both love Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter World was my game of the year when it came out. Monster Hunter Rise was my game of the year last year when it came out. I love these games so much. They have shifted my perspective on video games. I have put more hours into Monster Hunter over the last 5 years than any game since that I've played, and maybe even previously. I don't know. Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak is worth your time. If you haven't picked up the original Rise, it's definitely worth your time. An expansion to a video game is one of the best gaming experiences I had this year, and it wasn't even close. So will it be my game of the year? Don't know. You'll have to tune in for that whole entire separate episode when I go through all of those. It would be great. But glowing review from both Tyler and myself. And that being said, Tyler, I'd like to thank you so much again for giving me a little bit of your time tonight, sir, coming on talking Monster Hunter with me. It's always a great time. In case this is somebody's first episode, would you like to just kind of let the people know who you are, what you and Colby do, and where the people can find you?
Sure. I mean, first, the pleasure's mine, Eric. I mean, come on now. But if you guys like what you heard today, you can swing on over to the Switch It Up podcast on all podcast listening platforms. Me and my co-host Colby, which if you are a returning viewer, you will probably have heard him as well on other episodes of this very same podcast. But we do a Nintendo podcast. We cover all things from news to reviews to just shooting the breeze about what he and I are playing and our thoughts about games that are coming out. We branch out a little bit. We talk about some games that aren't on the Switch, but it is mostly focused on Nintendo and things like that. So I like to think we're a good time. I like to think we're a good investment of your time. But be the judge for yourself. This is just it's just a little recommendation. And I got to thank Eric once again for allowing me a safe place to shill our content. So Eric, got props to you, man. You make this possible.
I always encourage this. I always try to cultivate a safe space for shilling. I'm basically running a swap, the Swaporama swap meet over here. Bring your stolen goods and sell them on my show. I don't get. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, hey, also, guys, listen to more. If this is your first episode of the Unlockables, what are you doing? Go back, listen to those episodes. This man does some of the most high quality stuff in the indie gaming podcast scene. I promise you, it is worth listening to. So.
I'm gonna make people sign a contract before they come on my show that says they can't compliment me because I don't like it.
Well, listen, the NDA must have gotten lost in the mail because I didn't get any such thing.
No, thank you, sir. Your words are very kind, and you don't need me to sell it, but I will anyways. Like most of the shows that I've done, 12 Games of Christmas, Switch It Up is one of the shows that is in my weekly rotation. Whenever episodes come out, I'm listening day one. It's fantastic. I can't highly recommend it. I'm sure this will not be the end of our collabs, Tyler. I believe we might have one coming up relatively soon.
It's cooking, man. It's in the oven. We're preheating it. We're preheating it hot. It's gonna be a good one.
But you'll just have to wait for further information on that. So again, thank you everybody for tuning in and listening. Tyler, thank you so much for coming on, man. Really appreciate it. We're in the home stretch. Not too many more games are left. 12 Games of Christmas. We're coming down to the wire. What will be my game of the year? What will happen the rest of Christmas? I don't know. But that being said, everybody have a Merry Christmas. Go have some eggnog and drink and drive responsibly. Good night, everybody.